everyone. Today we got to play Coffee Traders. So this is a game, if you saw earlier, we did an unboxing for because we were pleasantly surprised by the quality of pieces.
Oh, we were pleasantly surprised by the game, and just knowing, I had no idea this game even existed.
Right?
And I want to make one correction, since Randy is so good at pointing out when I'm wrong in the video, and you'll make a comment. Actually, Rob, he made the comment that Capstone Games usually doesn't have nice components. I disagree. Capstone is generally got nice components. Pipeline.
Well, there's Pipeline can have some.
But Pipeline,
the rail games that I got are nice. Irish Gauge and all of those are nice. Okay. So, sorry, Capstone.
Not to this level.
Sorry, Capstone, that Randy made that comment. I think this stuff is very nice. So.
This looks like a Lacerda Eagles game.
If you want to throw some stuff my way because I like you so well, that's okay too.
Okay. Before we get into all this, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and the notification bell because you like to see these two disagree all the time.
That's right.
And fighting to the death for their opinions. But, Rob, tell us more about this game besides the fact that it's awesome.
Brand new game, 2021. I think you just got it at the store the other day, like you said in the video. Plays 2 to 5, which is kind of pleasant. Board Game Geek rating is 7.9. Designers Rolf Sagel and Andre Spiel. Art by John Rabal and Dean Van Paradin, published by Capstone Games. MSRP, I don't think I paid this much at Card House, but $119.95.
Yeah.
Is MSRP.
So you said it was 7 point what?
7.9.
Well, I'll tell you about my opinion on that score later. All right, so talking about quality of pieces, I think we kind of talked about this in the unboxing video. So as we discussed earlier, we were pleasantly surprised by the component pieces for this. I mean, all the shaped meeples that for different items, as well as these really cool coffee beans and the player colors. The boards are beautiful. The player boards are like little ledger books that open up and fold out that are absolutely gorgeous. I mean, overall, and you have metal coins that come standard to the game, which I thought was absolutely fantastic. So as far as quality of pieces, I think this has really got a lot to offer for those that like that textile feel. There are a lot of bits, and I will say for $120 for all these bits for the quality, I think it's pretty good. I definitely would probably give this an 8 on quality. What are your guys' thoughts?
Well, I'm not as impressed with the metal coins. I'm impressed that they actually included metal coins, but the coins themselves are not the best coins in the world. But apart from the coins, I mean, I was just floored by this because, first of all, like I said, I had no idea this game even existed. I went to this.
Yeah, this went under the radar.
I had no idea. I just was checking the emails and from
I just heard, and I must not have mentioned to it. I remember a couple months ago this came out as you could reserve it through the Capstone website because kind of like with Stonemaier Games, I get notifications for games before they release.
Yeah, but they don't really advertise this. Like I haven't seen it much.
You only get the email if you're on their email list, then you would know about it. Otherwise, you wouldn't know until the day it comes out.
Yeah, so I feel like, so this was kind of like a sneaky
kind of... so I mean, I knew nothing about it, and it just, out of the names in the list, because, whenever the Card House email comes out, it just got a list of, these are the new arrivals, and this, for whatever reason, this name intrigued me, and I clicked on it, and then I'm like, oh, this sounds very similar to the type of games that Miranda really likes.
Yeah, so, but give it a score for quality of components.
I mean, it's that surprise value when I open the box is kind of skewing me a bit. I think the boards are amazing.
Absolutely.
I love the gigantic main board, and I love even more the player boards because they do look like ledgers. They look really cool. I'm probably going to give this an 8.5 because of all of especially the boards, but the components are good too. Now we do have some component issues we got to deal with, but it's just in this particular copy of it where we had one of the cat's tails was broken, and
that one right there.
One of the ledgers, mine particular ledger, the blue one, had a issue with the printing wasn't flat with the glue or whatever. It was puffy,
and the one was backwards.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. On the board, there's a misprint on the board where the 1 is inverted and backward. 1-1-1. I don't know how they messed that 1-1 up, but yeah, that's the only
talent.
I think I would have given this a 9, but I'm going to dock it a half a point because I'm just not a big fan of little cubes. So I wish they would have done some. I mean, they did such a cool job with everything else. I mean, you got donkeys for crying out loud, and they couldn't have thought of something a little different than just a cube. You know, maybe. I mean, it
So what
could
do you
have
think?
been
An 8.5?
I think it's an 8.5.
Well, I think the cubes are fine. I think
like
they could
the
have. I
colors,
think
I
they
just
could have
wish it had
done
been a
some.
different shape.
Like it would have been probably a 9 if they put the like where you can indent the board where you.
Either that, or maybe if even the cube itself was in the shape of that hook.
Yeah.
You know, like
Yeah.
a little hook that you just move down instead.
Yeah.
Just something like that. So I mean, it's 8.5, still a remarkable score to me.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's fantastic. So
Yeah,
I was very impressed with everything.
Yeah. So moving on to theme, guys, I think this theme is it goes with it. The ledgers themselves, the fact that your player board's a ledger, the fact that you have different countries that you build your different plantations in to grow the coffee beans, as well as the wildcats. I think this all inclusive into the theme. It is very much an economic game, very much a builder game, and each of the different phases represent that different part of it. Theme wise, I think it's great. This is definitely coffee traders.
And you have cat poop coffee.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hey, that's a real thing.
It's a real thing. Cat poop coffee.
Yeah.
I don't think Randy will drink it. Not that he ever
I
drinks
don't drink coffee, so.
But I mean, if he did, I don't know if he'd drink cat poop coffee. I don't think I would. I like coffee, but I don't think I'd drink cat poop.
Yeah, I think it's like I back distilled.
Yeah.
Today.
Oh, good.
And
I've been eyeing that. For
Well,
a
yeah,
week.
and I got coffee traders. And it's like I don't drink alcohol, I don't drink coffee, but yet we're buying games for that. But
we get our
You
fix
got
somehow.
Heaven and Ale. You got all these other
Yeah.
beer games too. So
yeah, that's true.
But overall, the theme is absolutely great for this. I'm actually going to give this a 9 for theme. I think everything is spot on. I think they did everything great. There is something of that wow that maybe is a little missing for me, which is why I'm giving it a 9. There just seemed to be something that doesn't go all the way for me, but everything else I think is top notch. What are your guys' thoughts on theme?
So this is another one of those cases where I'm trying to think of something to take off on it for, and I honestly can't.
See, I'm that way too, but there's something, I feel like there's something missing, and I don't know, I can't even put my finger on it.
I mean, I think the boards are beautiful.
I
I
do.
think the ledgers are amazing. I think I got to give it a 10. I can't think of anything to take off for on it.
What do you think about you?
I really do like the theme, but I don't know if I can do a 10 because mechanically it just I don't know the significance. You know, when you're building the buildings, why am I building that? Like a hospital. What in the world does the hospital have anything to do with making coffee? Unless you're talking about the McDonald's situation where people are pouring it in their laps. So other than that, why a hospital? So it's just
It's
some
in there for the workers.
some of the things that just doesn't make sense to me. So mechanically, it doesn't fit with the theme. But
The cats are the one that I struggled with, and then when I read the history in the book, I'm like, oh my goodness, I would never drink cat poop. So
I think that I'm going to give this a 9.
Okay, I'm right there with you. So, all right. So, moving on to rules. Rules were a beast because this game is a beast.
Yeah.
I would definitely put this on the medium to heavy scale. What are your guys' thoughts on?
So I'm the one that actually read the rules. It was 28 pages worth of actual material.
All I know is you read part of it to me and I was asleep.
Well,
Here's the story. So I was gone. I just recently moved, and the whole plan was I was cleaning my old apartment, and by the time I get back over to here, Randy had read the rules and be ready to play. No. So he was still reading the rules. He was reading the rules for like hours and still didn't get it. And so it's nothing against Randy. It's just the rules. I mean, there's a lot to this game.
yeah, it's not so much that it's hard read. It's the fact that you have to think about what it is doing. And the setup took a long time. This is a huge game, and it's a huge setup, especially when I'm setting it up by myself. So I didn't set up all the player boards, but I set up all the main board. I set up my player board so that the others could copy and set up their player boards whenever they
Thank
showed
you, Rob,
up.
for setting up my player board.
You're welcome.
So, but between trying to read the rules and setting up the board so I'd have the pieces in place so I could try to understand the rules better, it took a long time. Then once I started getting the rules down, it was a matter of there's no cheat sheets in this, which the only thing I think the cheat sheets would have been really needed for.
I don't know if it's needed.
I do think so, and the reason I think it's needed is because the icons, while they're useful, there's nothing to tell you what the icon actually means.
I did not know what the coffee icon meant, to be fair. Like, I was
So
sitting there.
there were important things about the icons that would have been useful to have had that were. And the thing is in the book they've got a section for that in the appendix,
Right.
but it's in the middle of the book because they put all the history about all the
Mhm.
interesting things about the history, which is great for theme. But unfortunately, it means the appendix is buried in the middle of the book. So unless it would have been great to take that appendix out and put it into a separate,
Right.
something that at least you could have its own separate book that like as a 2-pager even that you could have. But ideally, you'd have you can make a card that's got the information for everybody, and then you wouldn't have to keep referencing it. And the buildings were even in a different section than the rest of it was, so it wasn't all together. So from that perspective, it made it harder to teach and harder to follow along. So we had to keep the rule book in front of us and flip referencing it a few times.
Yeah, there's a
throughout
couple
the
times
game.
we had to do it.
So from that, I'm going to have to give this a 6.5. I don't think it's horrible. It's not bad. It was just a lot of material, a very heavy game to try to learn in one fell swoop.
Right.
And even when we did learn it, we forgot a couple of the major impact parts of the game because there was just so much of it and it was so late at night. And
yeah, I mean, I think that's part of it is this game is not for the faint of heart and that you have to go in. And I do think it's going to take you a couple of playthroughs to truly like get it. You know what I mean? So I think it is on the heavier side. So moving on to gameplay. This is too big to go into detail about what the actual gameplay is, so we're going to do a very broad synopsis. So basically there is 4 different phases. Well, 5 actually, technically phases.
6 actually.
6 technically.
6.
You got the refresh phase.
Yes. I can't count. All right.
Well, they're
so,
all numerals to be fair. So
1. Well, no, it goes 1 to 3. Where's 2?
No, there's 4 or 5 and
No,
6 on
1,
there.
2, 3,
Oh,
4.
that doesn't
5,
have a 2,
6.
so for the record.
It
Okay,
is. It's just
so-
at the bottom. They threw it at the bottom.
Because that makes sense. All right. So the first thing you have is the work phase. So the work phase is where you're placing your different workers to achieve different actions. That's building your plantations. That's placing workers. That is breeding donkeys. That is also gaining money or placing a cat that you've earned elsewhere in the game. Next is the worker phase, and that's simply placing any workers that you've earned in the process of the other parts of the game onto plantations that don't already have workers. And it's also the penalty for not having workers on places once
Well, you referred to 2 different things as workers. There's the black cubes, which are action cubes. They're not really workers. That's what you assign during the work phase.
Right.
And then there are workers, which are
The little brown meeples.
there's actually not. They're not even called workers. The workers are the meeples that are the generic brown ones.
Yeah, the worker
whitish,
pool. It says so.
creamish
Yeah.
ones.
Worker pool.
But what you have also are the traders and
Right.
Yeah, we haven't talked about the traders yet.
right, but those are the ones that are your color coded workers.
Yeah. So worker 2, or the second phase, like I said, is placing any of the worker pool that you've gained
And
on
there's
those.
a huge negative penalty if you do not place a worker on a plantation.
Yes. So then moving on to phase 3. Phase 3 is the trader and contractor phase. So you have your color of meeples, and basically you have a choice to either make them a trader or a contractor. If you're making them a contractor, obviously they're going to build different buildings that are on your player board that you're trying to remove off, and then the other one is going to act as a trader. So you place the trader, and then that way you'll get income where your trader is placed. And by income, I mean the coffee beans that get produced in a particular area for those plantations. And then you have the harvest phase. So the harvest phase is when that we calculate based on how many plantations there are in that particular area, how many get it based on, and then where those get divvied up. And those get divvied up between the trade houses and the traders that are in those locations. And I will say, I forgot to mention in the trader and contractor phase, there is a follow-up action with all players. So
Right.
one person does it, people can copy them and commit to those actions. So that one's a little bit different than the other phases. But then the harvest phase, all that gets calculated. You get your final income
And coffee.
and coffee beans. And then you move on to the contractor phase. Now the contractor phase you actually do in reverse turn order, which is different than the rest of the game. And not only that, though, you fill one contract at a time, and you basically spend as many resources as you can. But it's not just contracts. So you have 6 contracts throughout the game that you're trying to fulfill. They
And
do
that's
not
all you get.
That's
Yeah,
all you
that's
get.
all you
You
get.
do not replenish. But there is also the coffee bars. You can fulfill their orders, and they're also worth victory points. And those, they also have end of game scoring, which is the most, like if you have the most in the row, very similar. And there's different
In-game
rows.
scoring.
Some end game scoring around to whoever has the most in that particular row. And then the 6th and final is the refresh phase. So the refresh phase is basically you get all your traders and contractors back. They don't stay on there. You get all your worker pool back. And, you know, I think that pretty much.
Well, you have to
Yeah.
pay back any loan you borrow.
Oh, yeah,
because-
any loan that.
Because during the action phase or the work phase, you can take up to 2 out of 3 options you have, which is an extra action, or an extra trader, or 3 coin that you can borrow from it. But you have to pay that coin back, and if you don't, then you're going to suffer a 3 victory point penalty.
And we didn't even
for each
talk
coin.
about what some of the buildings have special
Yeah,
abilities.
we're not going into that. That we could be here all day.
What your cats can do. So there's all kinds of stuff we did not talk about.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
we're just talking about very basic gameplay.
Mhm.
Then the refresh action goes. There is other scoring mechanisms. So the one major scoring mechanism that I didn't mention, besides, so you got the contracts, you got the coffee bar, you also have placing all the buildings. Then you also have going up this track here, which is the Arabica track. So the more that you focus in a particular area, that more that track goes up, and you get benefits for going up. There is also a benefit of getting all the tracks at a certain level, and you get benefits from those. So you can do a couple of strategies of just focusing in 2 areas, or you can do the strategy of focusing on them all and try to get that bonus there. Then the other scoring mechanism is at the end of your board. There are different actions that you can take to earn you different kinds of tokens, and for each different kind of token, you can build up. If you get a duplicate, it just stacks. You know, so you don't get the bonus of building up. And if you get all the tokens in the game, there's 25 victory points. Good luck, have fun. I doubt you'll be able to do it. If you do, I'm impressed, because there's no. I didn't even get to the 4 point. You got to the 4 point.
I did.
I'm impressed.
But you can use 2 of the same color that if you've got 2 copies of each, that you can make a wild that you can
so
apply to.
That's how I was
another
able
spot.
to. Was get
Okay.
up there is because I was able to make a wild one and go up.
Yeah. So there is that piece of it. Well, so there
And
is
it was and despite what Randy thought, it was a pretty tight game. I mean, I thought Miranda ran away with it.
I thought I was more in
and-
the lead than I was, and it turns out I was only 10 points.
Right.
Like up. So
And Randy wasn't that far behind me.
yeah, so it was 136, 126, and 106, I think, or 108.
No, I think it was more like 150, 140, and 109.
No, it's 136, 126, and maybe 109.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was definitely a 109 for me. I know.
Yeah. So
So
that's
still for first time.
that was
I-
actually pretty close, and
Yeah.
and we made some
And we made some glaring mistakes that
yeah, like
that
we
could have made a huge difference. in
like
the game.
we forgot to, as we fulfilled our contracts, got the tokens on
Yeah.
the contracts,
which will
spot.
give us money,
Yeah,
which
and
we
then-
could have used that money for other
And-
stuff.
Yeah, and then me and you forgot to take the money for the contracts until like 3rd round
Way
when
later.
we were like, what?
And we left
Yeah,
out the
this-
milestones. We forgot to do the milestones during the game, which basically are in-game bonus, but you can do them during the
But you
game.
claim them as
long
soon as it
Yeah,
happens.
as soon as you meet the criteria.
So,
Yeah.
like I said, there's all kinds of stuff we just
Yeah.
glossed over.
So this game is
It's a beast.
it's a beast, but it's a beast I like.
It's a good beast. It's a
Yeah.
good beast.
I like this game a lot. I definitely want to play it again. Is it probably going to be in my top 5? I don't think so, but is it definitely going to be in my top 20?
It
I
might be top 5 if we play it, you know. and
Yeah.
Lord knows when next
Yeah,
time we
I
get
mean,
to play it.
It's
Sure.
going to take a while to get the gist of this.
Yeah, it's
I
like
mean,
it's like a Terra Mystica or any of those
Yeah.
that when you first play it, it's like, man, your brain kind of hurts. But then once you learn it, you can get into it. You really get to appreciate it after multiple plays.
Yeah.
It definitely felt like a Lacerda game, but it was not made by Lacerda, which is
Right.
actually encouraging because that means there's other people making games like Lacerda.
Lacerda.
And we really like Lacerda games.
We do.
We do.
And I love that the quality of the components look like the Eagle
Yeah,
games.
it does.
So, I mean, this definitely gave me
I would
a
like
lot
to,
of happiness
I would like to buy
that
this
there's
game.
other games like that out there. So I don't like when one company makes the same kind of games that nobody else is making, and then if they decide to stop, you're
Yeah.
out of luck. So now we got another company doing those kind of games because Pipeline was. I don't think Pipeline was to this level as far as quality.
No, but it was still good.
It was still good. I mean, the game itself is great.
I love that game.
I'm talking about the component quality was not to this level.
No, it's not, and only because Miranda pimped ours out.
It is really nice.
Yeah.
I did a good job.
So, but yeah. So overall score, what are you gonna give it, Miranda?
Oh, I'm gonna go with strong. Give it a 9. I really liked it. I really did like it, guys. Like, what would make this better? Again, there's something that I feel like is just, and it might be I just need more playthroughs. But there's something.
I thought you would give it even higher than that because you get to build your things and nobody messes with you.
I know, it's so nice.
So
No, there's something about it that I can't quite grasp that is missing. Like
I think multiple plays would solve that.
I really do. So that's what I'm hoping. I'm hoping multiple playthroughs will get me through.
But you're a 9?
I am definitely. I mean, it's a good solid 9. Like it's a 9. So
Randy?
What about you?
I'm probably with you on a 9 on this. It was. I mean, I didn't grasp it well in the first playthrough, and that makes me want to play it again right away. As far as I think there's a lot of meat here, a lot more than some of the Lacerda games, like the Gallerist. I think this one has more meat to it than the Gallerist does.
I think so too.
So I think I'm going to enjoy this more each time I play it, for at least for a while. So I'm excited about that because it's one of the things that, I feel like I was limited in Gallerist. I was limited in some of the others. I think this one I don't feel limited in. There's a lot of things to explore and do.
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna give it a 9 too, and if I can give you a secret, get donkeys. Donkeys are important. I did not realize how important they were, and it hurt.
Yeah, it hurt. It hurt. I got cornered, and I could have went that much further.
I had to stop building plantations, and you need plantations.
Well, because you realize, because when we first were reading the rules, we knew workers were going to be important.
Yeah.
And we were like, okay, obviously get the worker over the donkeys, but I had extra workers where I didn't have donkeys, so I think there is a balancing act that we have to pay attention to. Otherwise, we are going to be SOL.
Yeah, and also I wasted one of my level 1 plantations because I wasn't paying attention to the fact that you only get 5 of them.
Yeah.
And you start with 3 of them on the board in 3 different regions, which is great, but there's 5 different regions. So basically you have to, if you want to be in all regions, you have to save that one because you have no other choice but to start with a 1. So I wasted one and I couldn't get in one of the regions, and it cost me badly in the game.
Unless somehow you can get a truck, and getting a truck was hard.
Yeah.
Did any of us actually get a truck?
I came very close.
I had the choice.
Because I built it, but it was in game, so I got a free building instead of the truck.
Right. That was me. It was like right there at the end.
Yeah.
And I chose that.
And it's tough. So
it is.
But
this is a beast, and I'm excited to explore this beast.
And we'll probably play it again in a year and forget everything about it and go through.
No, that's what I say. That's what I like about this is that there's a lot of ways to score in this, and I'm hoping it stays that way. I'm hoping it doesn't turn into Zolkin like what we used to play with Zolkin was. That there's only a couple of winning strategies. This I think will have a lot more choices as far as winning strategies.
Okay.
So, super excited. Well, guys, we had an absolute blast, and I'm so glad Randy picked this up at the store. So, hopefully, we'll see you guys later. We'll catch you. Bye.
Bye.